The Marlins gift wrapped a victory to the San Diego Padres. There's no other way to put it. They gave this game away. I'm going to break it all down on today's Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Marlins. I'm your host, Jeremiah Geiger. I've been podcasting about the Marlins for 3 seasons now. Go hit me up on X at Jeremiah Geiger 2. And thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the YouTube channel and let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts about this game that I'm going to break down. The Marlins lose on a wild pitch in the 11th inning. I'm going to talk about how it got to that point because this was a game that the Marlins should have won. But bullpen management was questionable. I disagree with Clayton McCullough and how he handled this game, especially with what relievers to bring in and in what situation. I'm also going to talk about Ryan Weathers. This was his 3rd start against his former team, this one, with the San Diego Padres. He looked really good, man. He's legit. And also, Victor Mesa Jr. made his Major League debut, and he's going to be in the lineup from all reports on Tuesday. This one started off with a bang. The Marlins, Jesus Sanchez gets a base hit to lead off the game. Jesus Sanchez, leadoff hitter. And then Agustin Ramirez smashes a double in the right center gap that scores Sanchez. It's a 1-0 game. You have, in the 2nd inning, Connor Norby tacked on an RBI single, and you had Jesus Sanchez, went yard. So Ramirez, he had the double, Sanchez single, and then a home run in the 2nd inning. The Marlins are up 3-0. Ryan Weathers is pitching great. He gets into the 5th inning, or the bottom of the 4th, rather, and there's 2 outs, and Connor Norby makes an error at third base, a throwing error that just shouldn't happen. I heard on the broadcast, you can see it. He doesn't set his feet. That's what Rod Allen was talking about. And he just airmails the throw over Matt Mervis's head. That allows the door to stay open for the Padres, and they capitalize. Ryan Weathers walks the next batter, and they end up scoring a couple runs with a big 2-run double, I believe, was it Iglesias? Yes, it was Iglesias. Jose Iglesias with a big 2-run double, and that got the Padres back in it. It opened the door for a potential comeback. There's some nightmares that happen at Petco Park. If you're a Marlins fan, you'll remember the infamous Mother's Day fiasco a few years ago. That's actually when I first started podcasting about the Marlins, was about that time frame. Back in 2022, when former Marlin Jorge Alfaro walked it off in grand fashion, just crushed a walk-off home run. And it was great for the Padres fans, not so great for us. That loss still sticks with me. That's one of those losses you remember for a while. The Marlins have had a few of those losses over the years, but certainly that one stuck out like a sore thumb. Look, the Marlins had to win this game. There was no reason at all why they shouldn't have. You get into the 8th inning. Now, the Marlins, up to this point, they'd pitched great. Weathers went 5 2/3, no earned runs. Those 2 runs unearned because of the Connor Norby error. But he gets taken out in the 6th. Jesus Tinoco comes in, finishes the 6th, pitches a scoreless 7th. And then Calvin Fauché, man. You remember that disaster against the Cubs in which he gave up 6 earned runs. All he has to do is pitch a clean 8th inning, and you're going to be golden. You're going to be fine. You go to the 9th with the lead. Not the case. Whole new ball game. Manny Machado crushes a home run to left field. And at that point, you were just playing with fire. It really, the whole game, I mean, the Padres are a good team. Don't get me wrong. They are a very good team. But when you're up 3-0, you have an error that opens the door. Padres get a little bit closer. It's 3-2. And you're just thinking to yourself, hold on to this lead. The bullpen can't have a slip up. That's exactly what happened. Fauché gives up a bomb to Manny Machado. His ERA now, 5.50. So Fauché has not had the best of his of seasons to start 2025. But that was just soul crushing. Watching that home run just you can't have that happen. You can't let the Padres back in it because now it's going to the ninth. Padres have a really good bullpen, and the Marlins, they made some questionable decisions with their bullpen. I didn't see a couple high leverage guys that I wanted to. I'm going to talk about that later on. But you go to the top of the ninth, you don't score. Tyler Phillips was pitching the top of the ninth. Somehow, some way, he makes it through. Padres go to the bottom of the ninth, this was the bottom of the ninth. Marlins are the away team. But the Marlins don't score in the ninth. Padres don't score in the ninth. It goes to extras. Tyler Phillips is still out there for the 10th inning. Couple hard hit balls, but they survive. The Marlins survived the 10th inning. And then in the 11th, you don't score in the 11th when there's the place runner on second base and you can't score a run, you're playing with fire because all the opposing team has to do is advance the runner to third and either sneak a ground ball through one of the holes or hit a sac fly. That's all they have to do. And in this instance, the Padres advanced the runner to third base. It was a wild pitch that scored the runner. Horrible way to lose it. Just gut-wrenching loss. Now, Marlins still have a couple games left against these guys. The pitching staff is lined up. You had Ryan Weathers. You have Max Meyer on Tuesday and Sandy Alcantara on Wednesday. So you can still win this series. But that was a very winnable game that they just gave away. Tyler Phillips was pitching the 9th. He also pitched the 10th. And then it was Cade Gibson who pitched the 11th. Not the names I personally would have went with when you're in a high leverage situation. I'm going to talk more about that right after this. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert leading support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade professionals looking for that extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. So join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. If you're an everyday listener to Locked On Marlins, thank you for being part of the Locked On Marlins crew. If this is your first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And it's time to talk about the bullpen management from Clayton McCullough. Let's go back to the 9th inning. It's a tie game. It's 3-3. Bottom of the 9th, you have to survive this inning to even get to extras. Who is pitching? Tyler Phillips. Tyler Phillips is getting the bottom of the 9th for you. What? Where do you see this going? Not just the bottom of the 9th. He survived that. He got the bottom of the 10th. Now, in hindsight, it worked out. And credit to Phillips for getting the job done. Didn't allow a hit. He only walked one. But if the Marlins get walked off in the 9th or 10th, I'm still going to be saying the same thing. Why is Phillips in the game in that situation? The 11th inning. Phillips comes out. Oh, enter Cade Gibson. Cade Gibson comes in the game to face a majority of left-handed hitters. You had Gavin Sheets, you had Cronenworth up there, Bogarts was sandwiched in between. But why is Cade Gibson in the game? This is a high leverage situation. This is his 7th career appearance. He shouldn't be in that situation. Point blank, period. And nonetheless, with 2 strikes on Jake Cronenworth, he throws a pitch in the grass that gets away from Liam Hicks. I mean, this pitch wasn't even close. It looked like a slider, a breaking ball of some sorts that just bounces away from Hicks. He had no shot at trying to block that. And the runner from third base comes home to score. The Padres walk it off, and everyone in San Diego drives home happy. And I'm sitting there looking at my TV. Why? Ronny Henriquez and Anthony Bender weren't in the game. I tweeted this out. I tagged a few people. I said, were they unavailable? Were they just not available to pitch? And one of the replies was Henriquez wasn't available to pitch because he had pitched the previous 2 days. You're not going to run your young pitchers 3 consecutive games in a row. Here's the issue I have with that. He pitched twice in the Angels series, Sunday and Saturday. Sunday, he got the save. Shutdown, 1, 2, 3. Gets the job done. 19 pitches combined across those 2 outings. 19. It wasn't like he went out there and threw 21 pitches and then the next day 17. And I can understand that. But 19 pitches, you're telling me in a tie game in the 9th inning, 10th inning, and then the bottom of the 11th inning, when you're trying to win a game, Henriquez just isn't an option after how good he's been all season and how good he looked against the Angels? I'm sorry, but Cade Gibson, he throws significantly softer. He's not a hard thrower. He's not a late inning reliever. Ronny Henriquez has the stuff to be a closer. At some point in his career, Henriquez will be a closer. Unavailable after 19 pitches the last 2 days. And what about Anthony Bender? Where is Anthony Bender? 21 pitches yesterday. Or not yesterday, on Sunday. He can't go back-to-back games? Is this the state of the Marlins pitching staff where they don't feel comfortable rolling out a high leverage arm when the situation requires it because of 21 pitches? It doesn't make sense to me. This loss is in 2 parts. There's 2 parts to this loss. First off, the offense. Inexcusable how you can put up 3 runs in the first 2 innings and go scoreless the rest of the way. That can't happen. Only 7 hits total. Now, the back half of that lineup was pretty awful. A lot of zeros across the board. You go past Norby, Matt Mervis, 0. Pinch hit for Sanoja, 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. Ronnie Simon did get a hit, but he was later replaced by Victor Mesa Jr., who made his major league debut. The point being, this Marlins lineup did not do enough. When you're up 3-0, you have to put the gas. You have to keep the gas on. You can't hit the brakes. And they just went dormant, non-existent for the last 9 innings of the game. Essentially, you take those first 2 innings away, they play 9 innings up to 11, they got shut out. They got shut out for 9 innings. That's a full baseball game. Regulation. Can't happen. The second part. Here is the difference between the Padres and the Marlins in this one. Padres, 9th inning. Who did they bring out? Robert Suarez. 10th inning. Who did they bring out? Jason Adam. High leverage arms. The situation required of it. And then I believe it was Adrian Morjon who got the 11th. He's a pretty good reliever as well. ERA in the low 3s. Tyler Phillips and Cade Gibson should not be in that situation ever. And I can't sit here and tell you, well, it's because Ronny Henriquez was unavailable heading into this one. He had 19 pitches. You can't baby your pitchers like that. Go out there and throw. I mean, you're trying to win games, right? Where's Bender? Even if Henriquez, and you justify it by saying, look, even with 19 pitches, we felt that we didn't want to throw him the third day. You don't feel comfortable throwing out Anthony Bender, who's closed games for you in the past before. You don't feel comfortable with throwing him out there on back-to-back days? I really didn't like that. I did not like that approach by Clayton McCullough. Now, extra inning games for this team, it's hard. It's hard to win extra inning games with the bullpen currently constructed as it is. This is where you feel the absence from a guy like Andrew Nardi or Declan Cronin. Those two guys back in the fold, this probably doesn't happen. But regardless, and that's just a testament to how effective they can be when they're healthy. And hopefully Declan Cronin comes back soon. He's starting a rehab assignment with AAA this week. But when your starter gets taken out in the 6th inning, thank goodness it wasn't a 4-inning start like we've seen previous starts from Marlins pitchers, then you got to cover a lot of innings. And that's when you burn Tinoco in the 6th and the 7th. You burned Fauché in the 8th, which he opened the door for the Padres. He gave up the tying home run. And then the 9th and 10th, you got to cover those innings. You got to cover the 11th inning. But Tyler Phillips and Cade Gibson are not the options. And that's what did the Marlins. That's what did them in. Ryan Weathers was really good, though. He went 5 2/3 strong innings, a revenge game against his former team. I'm going to talk about Ryan Weathers, going to talk about Victor Mesa Jr., who made his major league debut last night, right after this. Remember, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on the YouTube channel, but remember, you can take Locked On Marlins wherever you go because Locked On Marlins is on every major podcast platform out there. Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. So if you're on the go, you just want to throw in the headphones, the AirPods in, and listen to the show, you can do that as well. Ryan Weathers continues to impress. He is legit. There's no other way to put it. I think the ceiling for Ryan Weathers is higher than any other pitcher currently on the Marlins pitching staff. I think it's above Max Meyer. Obviously, Sandy Alcantara, he won a Cy Young. So we're going to say besides Sandy Alcantara because that's really hard to do. But Sandy hasn't looked like Sandy. He looks like a different pitcher in terms of execution to years prior. Ryan Weathers looks the part. He throws really hard from the left side. He was averaging 97.7 miles an hour on his fastball. So essentially 98 on the fastball consistently coming right at you. He's got his slider that he mixes in a little, or his sweeper. He's got a changeup that he likes throwing a lot. When you have a fastball at an elite velocity and you have a really good changeup that you can tunnel after, I mean, it's going to be effective. And we're seeing the signs of a pitcher that when healthy can be an all-star. This is dating back to last season even. First 2 starts against the Cubs, really good lineup. He did what he had to do. Very effective. This one against San Diego. The Padres are a good team. And he shut him down. You have those 2 runs. They're not charged to him. Shouldn't even have been in that situation. What I think stands out most is the control. He had a couple walks in this one, or 3 walks in this one, but I'm really not worried about it because the strike zone last night was so incredibly tight. He wasn't getting any of the calls. A couple of those walks probably don't happen if you have an umpire that calls a strike and doesn't have a zone that is non-existent at times. I like the control from Ryan Weathers. I like the ability to work a quality game. Yeah, he didn't go 8 innings, but he pitched into the 6th and probably could have finished the 6th. I'm happy for Weathers. I'm happy to see, excited to see what's next ahead for him as he continues his season. Started off on the injured list. You know, it took a while for us to see him. The rest of the baseball world wasn't necessarily aware that Mr. Ryan Weathers has this stuff. He looks really good. If that velocity can stay consistent and he can continue to locate both the fastball, the changeup, the sweeper, he's going to be a problem, guys. He's going to be a problem this year and the years to come. I think it's safe to say you absolutely have a cornerstone in your pitching staff. I don't want to hear any talk of trade Ryan Weathers. No. You don't trade him. There's no value. The value that you would be getting back in a Weathers deal is way less than the potential value you get from Weathers being on your baseball team. And I firmly believe that. You can't just trade guys that show signs of promise and potential. We're not supposed to be the farm club for other big league organizations. So Ryan Weathers should absolutely stay in town. Victor Mesa Jr. made his major league debut. He came in the game and played center field and then got a plate appearance in extra innings. It was kind of a forgettable plate appearance. He struck out on a pitch well outside the zone. It's his first at-bat, right? It's his first at-bat. It happens. These at-bats happen. What do we get out of Victor Mesa Jr.? Because I'm excited to see him in the lineup. I'm excited to see what he is going to bring to this team. The corresponding move, Derek Hill was placed on the injured list again with a wrist injury. And Victor Mesa Jr. gets his debut, gets his opportunity to showcase what he got. He's going to play good center field. He's a good defender. He's a career .254 hitter throughout the minor leagues, and he has some pop. Reminds me offensively, in terms of production, of like a Jesus Sanchez, albeit not as high a ceiling when it comes to power. But VMJ, man, look, he deserved the shot last year. He was on fire in Jacksonville and probably would have been called up had it not been for a back injury that eventually sidelined him for the rest of the season. But he gets an opportunity. I think his ceiling is higher than Derek Hill offensively. The biggest question is he going to survive against major league fastballs? It can be done. These turnarounds can happen. Historically, throughout the minors, he's struggled against velocity, against pitches, 94, 95, 96. When pitchers start getting pretty firm and they challenge you with heat, that's where he can struggle a little bit. But Kyle Stowers struggled with the same thing a season ago, couldn't hit a fastball worth a lick, and look at him now. He's probably going to be the Marlins All-Star representative. So whatever adjustments Mesa Jr. has to make at the major league level, and he's going to see major league pitching, and it's a lot different than the minors. These call-ups, we talk about guys that deserve call-ups. Victor Mesa Jr. deserved the call-up. He had nothing left to prove in AAA. He can either hit the ground running, or it's going to be potentially a slow start, and he's got to get his feet under him, and he doesn't have it all together from the first game onward. Like, we can't all expect Agustin Ramirez from Victor Mesa Jr. or Agustin Ramirez type production. But how good would it be for the Marlins if he can stick in center field, play good defense, and just play up to his ceiling? If he can hit 250 in the majors, give you 10 to 15 home runs, maybe 20. You never know. He can run into a few. Then the Marlins are going to feel really, really happy. Homegrown talent. One of the cases with the Marlins over the last few years was the inability to draft, sign, and develop talent, especially with the hitters. Now, Victor Mesa Jr. was signed with his brother a few years ago, Victor Mesa. And at the time, I believe Victor Mesa signed for about $5 million. It was a hefty payday coming out of Cuba. And Victor Mesa was the higher rated prospect. Victor Mesa Jr., his brother, was just kind of the second piece in that deal, in the international free agency class of that time. I want to say it was 2018. But Victor Mesa kind of flamed out in the minors, never played up to his potential, and Victor Mesa Jr. instead became the better product, the better prospect. So, yeah, I'm excited to see Mesa Jr. I'm excited to see what this Marlins team does moving forward in terms of other moves. There's going to have to be decisions in the near future when it comes to the bullpen. Really quickly, Declan Cronin is going to be on his way back. It's going to be a much-needed addition to this bullpen. The Marlins already have made changes throughout the last couple of months. Anthony Veneziano being optioned. Lake Bacher being optioned. Guys are going to go up and down. So whoever can stay hot and really be effective over the next couple of weeks, those are the guys who you're going to see get chances to stay. I do want to mention this. Edward Cabrera. I put this tweet out here last night. The Rangers are considering moving Kumar Rocker to the closer's role to become a closer. And I tweeted out, the Marlins should consider doing the same thing with Edward Cabrera. Why, Jeremiah? He's pitching so well. This is a horrible take. His ERA in May is 2.50. It's something ridiculous. Yes, he's had 4 good starts. Last start against the Angels, a really good start. But I've also watched Edward Cabrera pitch for the last 5 years. And this is what I'm going to say publicly here on the podcast. If Edward Cabrera can continue this hot stretch and build his value, then I think you trade him at the deadline. I think you try to flip him and strike while the iron's hot and get him out of town and get some value back for him. Because I would be shocked if we go an entire season and Edward Cabrera is pitching to a sub-3 ERA the rest of the year. This isn't. I'd love him to. I'd want him to. I've rooted for Cabrera since he was in the minors. But it's very unlikely that's the case. He is a streaky pitcher. He'll get into stretches in which he's really good. And you see the stuff. You see that changeup, that 95-mile-an-hour changeup. And you're like, he's figured it out. And then it comes back down to earth. He walks batters. He runs up a high pitch count. And we're at the same thing. We're talking about the same thing all over again. So Edward Cabrera, do I consider him a building block for this rotation moving forward? No, I really don't. I consider him a trade chip. I also can entertain the idea of taking him eventually if he struggles and struggles for 2 or 3 games and saying, look, if we're not going to trade you, we can move you to the bullpen, aka the Jeff Hoffman situation, and you have the stuff to survive one time through the order. Less than that, you're going 3 to 5 batters and be an effective reliever in a high leverage situation. I think Cabrera could do that. I really do. Let me know your thoughts on that in the YouTube channel. Hopefully on Tuesday night, the Marlins go out there and get a win. They can get this bad feeling away from them. Losing on a wild pitch, it's just a brutal way to go down. That's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On Marlins. For your second listen of the day, go check out the new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game from every day, there's recaps over there. It's really cool. It's over on the Locked On MLB channel. Till next time, guys, stay safe, stay locked on, and let's go fish.